A question that I receive very often is, how can I wick my plants? And I will show you. First, you will need some sort of reservoir to hold the water. And you will need some sort of wick. And you want a specific type of mixture of soil because when wick watering, the soil will always remain damp. Therefore, we need to use a very light mixture of soil and very airy. The soil mixture proposed today is half peat moss and half perlite. For the wicks, you may have to try a few types because some do not work properly. They will soak up some water and then it'll just stop and the water will never get to the soil line. And you want to stay away from all natural products like wool and cotton because yes, they will work in the beginning. However, being natural products, they disintegrate very, very fast and they rot. You can find these in any stores that offer knitting supplies. Walmart has a section on knitting supplies, so you just go and try to find something that is synthetic, and you can try it out. To test to see if the wick will be a good one, you can leave part of it in the water and bring another part up higher and put it on some newspaper. You're going to want to let that sit for a while and then come back later and see if the paper is completely dry. It means it's probably not a good twine to use the wicking method. And if the paper becomes completely wet, it will be a good sign that this twine should do the job. And here's the shot of my little test a few hours later. The paper is still dry on the sides, but it does have water that's spread around. And that means that my little wick is working. Then we will simply mix up the two ingredients, half peat moss and half perlite. Mix this all up. And there you go. And now we will simply add the soil as we would any other plant. And we are going to pot up our little baby. Now I shaked most of the soil off this little baby because I don't want it to remain with only peat moss. That's important. The whole mixture has to be very, very light. And I'm going to finish it off with my hands. I hate working with spoons. And we're going to pot this up as normal. There you go. Now when you're potting it up for the first time, you will want to let it soak up some water completely, and this will help for the capillary action to work. So I'm going to let this drink up as much water as it can. And once it's finished taking up the water, I will add it to my reservoir. And I will then add some water to the reservoir. And are we touching? I'm going to remove just a little bit because it is the bottom of the pot is touching the water and I don't want that, so I'm just going to take a little bit out. And there you go. In the beginning, you will have to check on your reservoirs once in a while to know how many days it will remain watered. And this can vary from home to home because our humidities and dryness of the homes varies. And as I mentioned before, this is just a sample of what you can use. You can also use little dairy cups. You can find this in any grocery stores where they make food. They usually put them in little dairy cups. And I made a little hole in the middle. You can just set it on top. But I'm very, very clumsy and they're always falling off. So I made a little hole inside to make sure it stays in the hole. And I have a little hole beside here for watering. Deli containers come in different sizes. There's a small one, a little bit higher, and this is still even higher. These are the ones that I would prefer if I would be doing it, because there's a big section of water, and I can put my little pot in the hole to secure it. You can use the smaller ones too if you're not clumsy like I am. You just set your little container on, your little pot on top, and then you have the whole reservoir that you can fill up with water. And there is a little hole in the side for this. There you go. Anyways, I would stick it all in like that, and that would work. I've been showing you how to work with a little pot, but we can use this for the 4-inch pots too. That's not a problem. Same method. Put a hole inside the lid if you want to. You don't have to. You could set this on top also. That's not a problem. That's up to you. You may have a little pretty container you want to use, and you can do that too. Although this is very cute, it is not, I would not use this because see, the little pot is almost as deep as the covering pot. Therefore, I wouldn't have enough space to put water underneath, which beats the cause of why we're doing this. But it is cute. So this watering method can be very useful for those of you who travel a lot, because you can have your little setup for when you are home that you can watch them. But if you are leaving for some time, you could buy bigger containers like this, poke some holes in them and have community watering, and just transfer all the little pots. There's a hole down there, just have to stick it in. Transfer all the little pots on top of these larger containers, and they will be able to live for as long as you're gone. Now, before leaving, you will want to test this to know exactly how long that it does remain wet. To test it, you would simply put whatever you would normally put on it while you're leaving on vacation, and grow these out while you're home, and verify how many days it will last. If you're leaving longer than the time that it does remain with water, simply ask a friend to come in, and don't water the plants, just water the reservoirs. And fill up the reservoirs, and then all the plants will be safe while you're gone. For every watering method, there are, of course, pros and cons. The pros to this system is very simple. You don't have to water it as often. A con of this watering method is that algae will eventually form in the bottom of the reservoirs. If you don't know what algae is, it's going to be some green mush growing in the bottom. Algae forms with light and water, and this is light and water. Now, if you cover up the pots with something, the bottom, it won't be as bad. It probably won't have any algae. And you can also use any type of copper material, because copper and algae don't mix. For all my Canadian friends, you're thinking, I got rid of all my pennies. That was a mistake. The soil mixture of half peat and half perlite that I proposed today is the basic recipe to start with. But please, 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 before going around and planting every single one of your plants, please do a trial test on a few just to see how it works in your conditions. Every time you're introducing something new to all of your plants, you want to test out a few just to make sure it works out. Because it's so annoying. Sometimes we go through the whole collection, do everything, and then find out afterwards that the change we did was not appropriate in our conditions, and all our plants are having a hard time. For some people with different growing conditions, the recipe I gave may be either too heavy or too light. You may have to add more perlite or add a little bit of more peat moss, and the only way to know this is to try. So again, just try a few, see how it works. And if after a month, 6 weeks to 2 months, it's all looking great, well, then you can go ahead and do all of your plants within this new watering method. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think I covered all of the material, but if you have further questions, just ask them in the comments below, and good luck! I hope this video has been very helpful. If you like it, please thumbs up below. It lets me know I'm doing something right. If you would like to know when I upload new videos, you have to subscribe below and you will receive a notification. If you have questions that you need answers to, please write it in the comments below. I read everything. It gives me an idea of what needs to be talked to. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye!